Let's go ahead and run down a couple of these names that we're seeing. And I'm going to start in the ACC with Devin Leary. Devin Leary had an awesome 2021, not as productive of a 2022, and then he gets hurt in that Florida State game, has the surgery in October. But already, I think we're seeing a number of schools that are going to have a lot of interest in Devin Leary.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Devin Leary is an excellent quarterback. I think some people were talking about him as a potential first-round pick this year before he got hurt. I don't know if that would have ever happened, but he could have easily been a day 2 or 3 or a day 2 pick if he had a strong season like we expected him to at NC State. The future at NC State's MJ Morris, so it makes sense for both parties to probably move on in this situation. I've been a little busy today. I haven't had a lot of time to check in, but like this was a rumored situation for a while now, and Notre Dame and Illinois are the two teams I've heard the most. Notre Dame, obviously a very QB needy team at the moment. They're kind of the big fish in that pond, at least for now. I think we'll see some other schools like Florida and maybe even Oregon sneak in there as options for big name quarterbacks.
Certainly. I know just texting around, there was some speculation maybe Kentucky would be interested with Will Levis off.
Illinois is another one to note because his brother's on that roster and they need a quarterback.
Also, at one time, there was a young offensive coordinator who was really excited about a kid out of New Jersey that he had pulled and that the rest of the country wasn't offering quite as much yet. And that coordinator's name was Eli Drinkwitz when he was with NC State, and now he's the head coach at Missouri. We have seen a lot of success stories in the portal with guys who were coached by one guy. That guy moves on, and then all of a sudden the player follows. I think the most notable case this year is Bo Nix, who reunited at Oregon with his offensive coordinator, Kenny Dillingham.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, that's a good talking point because literally before everything broke this morning, I was wondering if Drinkwitz had actually coached Leary at NC State. So that's a good dot to connect. Missouri 1,000% needs a portal QB. Like more than any school in the SEC, in my opinion. And they will go very hard after Leary if that's the case. Like they swung and missed on several portal QBs last cycle, including JT Daniels and a couple others. So if they can land Leary, it might change the fortunes of Eli Drinkwitz's tenure.
It really impacted their season. We are seeing the ramifications of missing in the portal, right? Alabama last year, they went with Burton and they went with Harrell. Harrell couldn't get healthy this year. Bama did not have a legitimate deep threat at receiver. Burton was wildly inconsistent. And as a result, Alabama wasted Bryce Young, right? They're not going to win. Bryce Young is not going to win a title now as a starting quarterback of Alabama, assuming he goes pro, which if he doesn't, we're going to be back on this desk doing another show immediately because that would be a huge announcement. It is important you hit on these guys. And if you miss, there are consequences. So another guy I want to talk about here, because we did see this dude play some this year. He's not leaving because of an injury. He's leaving because he's not the starter, but he's definitely a guy that showcased ability to start, including against that Alabama team when he had to come in relief of Quinn Ewers, and that is Hudson Card, the Texas quarterback. Obviously, you know him pretty well. What would you say about Hudson Card's game for people who haven't seen him a lot? What would you say about Hudson Card as far as a potential fit at the college level?
I mean, Hudson's he's a really talented quarterback. I think people forget he was a top 50 prospect for us. He played wide receiver in high school at Lake Travis for years, an above average athlete for a quarterback. He also just and I know people get tired of the word arm talent, but Hudson has a really, really talented arm. He throws a 20-yard out as well as any quarterback I've seen, at least on air. And I've been watching QBs for a long time. As terms of a fit, I think Hudson can play anywhere. Texas fans probably didn't give him enough credit this year. He kept Texas afloat when Quinn Ewers was hurt. He completed 70% of his passes on a bum ankle. Mind you, he clearly elevated his game from 2021 when he struggled. I know Notre Dame is interested in Hudson Card. I think a school to watch is going to be Oregon. I reported earlier today that UTSA offensive coordinator Will Stein is going to take the Oregon offensive coordinator role. Will Stein was Hudson's high school offensive coordinator actually at Lake Travis. So if Bo Nix leaves for the NFL, Oregon would be a really natural fit for Hudson Card. I think Bo Nix does want to leave for the NFL. Whether he gets the grade to do so is in question. I know he's playing in the bowl. So lots of dots to connect there. But I think Oregon, depending on how things go, is definitely a team to watch for Hudson.
Another name, speaking about West, Oregon, DJU, right? Mm-hmm. Starter at Clemson, gets benched in favor of K. Klubnik. Clemson has a nice game. I think everybody realized that DJ was going to be on the way out for quite a while. I think we've openly speculated on Cover 3. Where would he fit? I thought Washington would have been a good fit, but Michael Penix is coming back now to Washington. Would you expect him to end up back on the West Coast?
Yeah, I don't know if DJ knows where he's going. I'm going to be honest. Just talking to people who know that family, and we obviously broke the story that DJ was going in the portal. I think he's going to explore his options. Washington would have been an interesting fit. I think he would have been really good in that system, but obviously Penix was coming back. That's a school I had floated to me about DJ before all of this happened the last couple of days. If there's going to be a fit on the West Coast, maybe Oregon State. Like they obviously have a portal need at quarterback. Jonathan Smith has a very quarterback-friendly system. I think that system fits DJ better than what he had at Clemson. This is not sourced, but I think Kentucky would be a really interesting option for him. DJ's game is like pretty similar to Will Levis. They both are excellent deep ball passers for the most part. They both struggle short to intermediate sometimes with their accuracy. They're both, I would say, above average athletes. I know DJ can look a little slow, especially laterally sometimes, but he's gotten a lot quicker and he can run like Will Levis can. So I think depending on who the offensive coordinator hire is, that would be a really natural fit. And Kentucky, I think, is going to be one of the most active teams this cycle looking for a quarterback.
And I don't think it's really fair to judge DJ solely on his own merit there at Clemson because, let's face it, Dabo Swinney made the controversial decision to promote from within on that coaching staff after a legitimately bad 2021 offense for the Tigers. And in doing so, that's a tough call. And they don't have very much Power 5 experience outside of the Clemson Tiger program at Clemson. So in looking at that, how do you separate DJ from what Clemson does? I don't know. I bet you, though, somebody's willing to take a shot.
Well, I mean, like, how did you separate Bo Nix from everybody else last year?
Right.
Like, we've seen, like, this year's a great example. Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Michael Penix are all quarterbacks that revitalized their career with a change of scenery. And, I mean, DJ wasn't a five-star by accident. He was right there with Bryce Young his entire high school career. These guys were 1-2 in that class for a reason. He has all the tools you could ever want. Like, maybe a change of scenery helps. I mean, people are going to bring up Virginia as a potential destination, but it's not like he was great with Tony Elliott as a sophomore. I think Jeff Scott probably is going to get an offensive coordinator job somewhere. That's one to watch given his connections there. But again, like, I don't. Do
you want to stay in that Clemson offense?
I think you want to. I think you want to expand your horizons a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. Like Arizona State's going to need a quarterback. This is pure speculation at this point, I will say. But like maybe Kenny Dillingham takes another reclamation project with a normal 5-star.
That certainly could be. Last quarterback. Well, I guess we have two more to hit on. Austin Reed at Western Kentucky, you already mentioned, came from West Florida, which is a lower division program, goes to Western Kentucky to follow what they did under OC Zach Kitley. Maybe not quite the same numbers that they put up in 2021, but still a nice 2022. Do we think he's going to get like upper tier Power 5 interest here?
I mean, maybe. Andrew Ivins was the one that was all over this afternoon. I had heard from a Western Kentucky source after Andrew texted me that it was going to happen, and I think it caught a lot of people by surprise there. This is a guy who was a D2 quarterback just last year at West Florida. He was an All-American there, national champion. But I had heard the reason why he beat out Jarrett Dahey, who was the West Virginia starter the year before, was because he had the upper-level talent ceiling. So unlike a lot of other maybe D2 quarterbacks who are going to be like solid college quarterbacks, Austin Reed has the upper-level talent. Whether a really good Power 5 team wants to take a chance on that, I'm not sure. He plays in a really quarterback-friendly system. Ben Arbuckle's one of the top up-and-coming offensive coordinators in the country. Part of I guess, Zach Kitley tree at this point. So maybe if he can find himself in like an air raid system, that could be an air raid-ish system because Zach doesn't run a pure air raid. But that type of system might make him very successful. But I think he'll be one of the more intriguing under-the-radar names for sure.
Last one we need to talk about here before we move off quarterback. Spencer Sanders, a guy who's had a ton of success and also some struggles at Oklahoma State. He's gone now at this point, right? Like he's not returning to Oklahoma State. He's in the transfer portal. What kind of interest do we think Spencer Sanders is going to have here?
Yeah, we broke the Spencer Sanders news this afternoon. And Spencer's somebody I've been hearing rumblings about potentially going in the portal for a month now. I think there's some friction in that program with the kind of direction of the offense overall. And that offense totally fell apart when Spencer got hurt. You're talking about his future, and I'm sorry, I'm riffing here.
No. It's interesting.
But moving forward, I was texting with somebody about where Spencer could go. I don't think he has a set destination in mind based on talking to somebody about him. But I expect he'll have a lot of interest because you don't find four-year starting quarterbacks in the portal very often. And like it's gotten lost in Oklahoma State's offensive struggles the last few years. This used to be a top 20 offense. It was when he was a freshman and he was the quarterback. and they've lost some talent at receiver. They've lost some talent on the offensive line that's hurt him. But he's a really talented player. He was one of the most decorated recruits in Oklahoma State history when he came in. I remember watching him at Denton Ryan. He was always a baller. If he's healthy, I think he can really help a team. And I don't I hate to keep leaning on like the Bo Nix crutch of like somebody can revitalize their career, but I don't think they're like particularly dissimilar players.
Yeah.
Like they have a lot of the same qualities. And Bo, frankly, was very frustrating because he was turnover prone throughout his career. Spencer, that's been his bugaboo too. So if you get him in the right system with the right quarterback coach, I think Spencer Sanders can be an amazing bridge for a year for wherever he goes.
For sure. This list overall, what I'm seeing is not necessarily amazing top of the first round type talent. I don't know that we have a Caleb Williams or Quinn Ewers on this list so far, but what we do have is experience, right? There's a lot of experience, and I think college coaches are going to value that an awful lot.